Hey gang, how's it going? Today we're talking about Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man from 2002, Sam Raimi and all. Um, I'm here with my friend Adrian. We just finished watching the movie together. Say hi, Adrian.
Hello.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say we both had a really good time watching it. And if you don't know, Spider-Man, if you've been living under a rock, Spider-Man is one of the most popular superheroes ever created. He's so popular, there have been four film series that give their own versions of the character in the last 20 years. That's more films than Superman has gotten in his entire existence, and he's like the big granddaddy of all superheroes, right? So me and Adrian took a look at the original, well, the first mainstream Spider-Man movie from 2002, and we're going to see why it holds up, how it holds up, and why Spider-Man has stuck around for so long. So this movie in particular, it follows the story of Peter Parker. It's an origin story for Spider-Man, and he's sort of like an awkward teenager, and he's one day bitten by a mutant spider. He gets the powers of a spider. He can climb walls, shoot webs, punch things hard. He can sense things real good. And he goes up against a villain named Norman Osborn, who's the CEO of like a military company that has like genetic experiments and like new weaponry and stuff, and they're a contractor and they're trying to sell stuff to the military. And Norman Osborn genetically experiments on himself and is granted superhuman abilities, but also goes completely insane. And he uses powers to kill off corporate rivals and scheming coworkers. If this isn't the most cliche action movie villain backstory, then I don't know what is. And also, Norman is the father of Peter Parker's best friend. So, they have a toe to toe and they fight good versus evil. It's pretty simple in terms of plot. Um, Adrian, what did you think about the movie?
I really enjoyed it. I mean, I grew up kind of watching that. I personally give it like a 9 out of 10 because I don't know, like thoughts from when I was younger. I mostly remember that being like a very scary movie. But I mean, now it's not really like, it's really cheesy though, the overall movie.
Definitely.
Like, it's incredibly cheesy. But I think that kind of adds to like some of the charm in the movie.
Yeah, I'd
Like,
say like
hmm.
this is a very silly movie. It's not very complex. It isn't very subtle in anything. But,
Yeah.
I think it kind of sort of embodies the raw enjoyment that we get out of superhero movies.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I'd also really you gotta give it credit for like I think a lot of people give Iron Man this credit, but I think this movie is really what started like the whole kind of superhero movie like kind of trend of
Yeah,
the modern day,
absolutely. Because like superhero movies were kind of dead for a while until
in
like
like
the
the
Spider
80s,
Man series
90s.
came around. Yeah, like
Yeah,
before
yeah,
then it
like
was like
there
you just had
was like
Superman.
there was Superman, there was Blade, there was like a really bad Fantastic Four movie,
Yeah,
but like but then like around when in 2002 when this movie came out, it
yeah,
kind of brought a lot more people's attention to the fact that like these people can like have good movies and they can be actual characters and not just like a little kids kind of movie that you put on for them or something you
yeah,
know
absolutely. It was like Spider Man and then The Dark Knight and then Iron Man.
yeah
Like Iron Man is kind
yeah
of way late in the game, looking at the big
mm-hmm.
picture. You know,
That's true
I
that's true
think I think the reason why this movie is why it's so silly yet we still enjoy it is because it doesn't try to be anything deeper. It
mm-hmm.
plays to its strengths at all times. It's accepted the fact that it's a superhero movie. It's accepted the fact that there's crazy action stunts and stupid CGI and things like that. And that's something that the director Sam Raimi does really well in all of his films, especially in the Evil
Yeah.
Dead series. If you haven't watched Evil Dead, watch Evil Dead. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Sam
Um,
Raimi is like a very wacky kind of director, right? Like he makes a lot of those,
he is
like
incredibly
out
wacky.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
he adds like that kind of little flair, a little spice
He has that
to a lot of his
flair and he
movies.
works great on a budget.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
and I feel like that's like not trying to be too complex is something that a lot of newer superhero movies miss out on. Cough, cough, Justice League, cough, cough. Um, but yeah, I mean, the
Yeah, that's
characters. are cool and lovable, and the villains are ridiculous, corny, and over the top. But Willem Dafoe just gives such a batshit insane performance. It's so fun to watch.
Yeah, and the cast is like pretty damn good too. I mean, J.K. Simmons, Willem Dafoe, James Franco, like goddamn.
Yeah, it's really packed in there. And a lot of these actors are really young too. Like Tobey Maguire and James Franco and stuff. They hadn't done much of their career, so the casting directors had a really good eye for a movie like this. Except I think James Franco did something weird sometime, but we're examining him for his past work, not
Yeah.
All in all, I think both of us would highly recommend this film for really anyone that enjoys superhero movies to watch. I'd say I'd recommend it for anyone that enjoys action movies in general. Sometimes there's moments where the CGI looks really bad because the film's from 2002, but still looks better than the Justice League.
Yeah, and like it's the CGI, you really don't have to know this. Like it's not in your face,
It
like
isn't
unlike
as
a certain other movie.
overused as a lot of movies do it. They use practical effects when they can, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, what you said, they play to their strengths. Like there's very few times the CGI is used where like he jumps up high or something. Like that's really kind of it. Like, and then yeah, I mean, you don't really notice the CGI all that much.
Yeah, I mean, there's some moments where the camera gets really close to it, but it generally it doesn't take you too much out of the movie because seeing bad CGI in a movie is ridiculous and silly, but it's such a ridiculous and silly movie that it never really stopped me from enjoying it. You feel?
Yeah, because I mean, the whole vibe of that movie is like to have fun, and it's kind of like it's out there. So I mean, some kind of not so great CGI is really not a deal breaker if you're going into this movie and knowing what to expect.
And that's kind of key to this thing. Go in knowing what to expect. Don't expect this movie to be more than what it is. Just kind of turn your brain off. It's really enjoyable. All in all, I give this movie 4 out of 5 stars. You said you give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Those are pretty similar ratings. It's a really good movie. And I just wanted to touch on the fact, this is a little bit off topic from the review, but I just want to talk a little bit. This is a thing I think about a lot myself. Why do you think Spider-Man is so popular to get all of these movies made about him all the time?
That's true. He's had so many movies. Oh my gosh.
Exactly. He comes back all the time. There isn't a moment where there isn't a new Spider-Man. It's kind of becoming the James Bond of superheroes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually that's true.
I'd say Batman kind of has that same energy, but for me, Spider-Man's a lot more prolific.
Really, nothing comes close to Spider-Man though. Okay, we've had Sam Raimi, the Amazing Spider-Man, the MCU Spider-Man, and then we've also had the Spider-Verse.
The second one is going to come out pretty soon. I'm really excited for that too, by the way. Well, I mean, when I say pretty soon, I mean more 6 months to a year, but
I mean, still,
I'd say that's fairly soon in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited for that. Honestly, I have to say, still off topic, but that movie, Into the Spider-Verse, is my favorite Spider-Man movie.
Oh, oh my gosh. That's really good. Yeah, that's true.
The reason I think why Spider-Man is so integral, such a powerful part of people's vision of superheroes, why he's so prolific in media, is because he's probably the most relatable superhero,
Yeah, he's not a billionaire or an alien or some
Space
I don't know, some
Jesus.
crazy or Space Jesus or something.
Yeah, exactly. He's just a dude, and he goes through every struggle that every regular person would go through. He comes to terms with the loss of his Uncle Ben. He has to talk to the girl he likes. He gets his first job. He graduates from high school.
Yeah.
And he's doing all this while juggling being a superhero, and he isn't rich or anything. He lives in a little dingy apartment. I mean, the apartment in this movie is pretty nice, but I know in Spider-Man 2 it gets really bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just such a relatable and lovable and charming character. I'm a big fan of Spider-Man. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah, Spider-Man is a really fun superhero to watch and like root for and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah,
I can understand that.
and I'd say this movie does a really good job of encapsulating it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's also why I think like the Amazing Spider-Man movies fail because that Peter Parker felt like too perfect at all times. He was like
He, was-
he was a
he was
scientist
like
and
a
also a photographer and also like he was really good looking and
he was like a skater boy kind of thing, you know?
yeah, he did like 1,000 things. And Tobey Maguire in this movie is like he's just such a dopey guy. you know
Yeah.
he's like the only Spider-Man that genuinely feels like a nerdy awkward kid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's true. And then like even his little like quips when he's trying to fight Green Goblin are really like cheesy and stuff also. It's like something like a dorky kid would kind of think of on the spot,
Yeah,
you know?
it's a really cheesy movie. You can tell all the actors are having fun, and it just makes you as an audience member want to have fun with them too.
Yeah. Yeah,
So yeah,
definitely.
4 out of 5 stars for me, 9 out of 10 for you.
Hmm.
I highly recommend that you guys see the movie. It's excellent. But yeah, that's all for today. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah.